Hey, Odd Musings, episode number 399.
399. Where are we
Yeah.
streaming right now? I don't see us online anywhere. What channels are we on?
Well, we are on the let me see, that is the Odd Musings channel. You are
I don't
live,
see us on
Facebook,
there.
Bardstone, and then our YouTube.
Let me refresh.
If you go over to the right side where it says end stream, to the left is all three places. You click the down arrow, and then you can actually click view on Facebook.
Oh, through StreamYard?
Yeah. And there it is.
View on YouTube.
And I just shared it on my page.
View on Facebook. There it is. Okay. Yeah. When I went to the Odd Musings page, I didn't see it.
That's okay, because while you're doing that, today's show is going to be
Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Give me the Star Wars. Don't let them end.
It won't be all Star Wars, but we got a lot of Star Wars today. So
yeah, we had a lot happening this weekend in the Star Wars world, so that'll be cool. Yeah, we had Easter, and then we also had Star Wars Celebration out in Japan. I was nearly dead for 3 days. I tried to relive the Jesus experience. The past 3 days I was next to death with horrible colds that turned into a sinus infection and was just absolute misery. But the antibiotics started kicking in this morning, so I called Brett and I said, "Hey, I think I can pull off a show today." So now I actually can function.
Yeah.
So if my energy seems suppressed, it's because I've had no sleep for 3 days because everything hurts my head.
It's going around, It's
yeah.
I've known several people that told me after the fact they were sick. My brother's been fighting something for the last week, and he's gone to the doctor too. So it's just going around. I know it's the influenza B is the big one right now, which my understanding is if you got the flu shot, that one doesn't tackle it. So it's just one of the things you're going to have to ride out. Vitamins, stay hydrated. Hydration's key.
Yeah.
So, and then look up recipes for Amish penicillin.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not kicking it, don't wait too long because you don't want it to turn into pneumonia. I
did that in January.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I fought through it. And the thing is, it hit me in the chest and head first, a lot of congestion, and I was coughing up a lot of phlegm and, mucus. But I felt I was maintaining productive cough. So I felt, okay, I just got to tough it out. And I did for the most part. And then just as I remember I got up Sunday morning, I'm like, I think I beat it. I'm feeling good. And halfway through the day, all of a sudden my head started pounding, and I beat the cold part, but it turned into a sinus infection that just lit my head on fire. The kind of pain where I could feel every hair in my beard and head, my eyebrows hurt, my face hurt. So, if I tried laying down, the pillow hurt. If I sat up, my body hurt. If I stood up, I hurt. It didn't matter what I did. If I applied pressure, it hurt. If I didn't apply pressure. So it just felt like this constant vice that wouldn't let up. So yesterday, I'm just okay, I'm tapping out and going to urgent care. They gave me some antibiotics. And
yeah, when I was really got bad like that, and I basically diagnosed as pneumonia. They didn't do the test, but the signs were there. It was all right. So when I got a steroid shot, and they gave me antibiotics and a breathing treatment, I was there, and I within a couple hours I was feeling much better than I was. Still felt crap. It took a while. I think it's really, even the last few weeks, I've started to really feel a little more myself. I think it's lasted a couple months, and they said that a lot of this stuff is just really hanging on there.
Yeah. They said it's for this one going around. It's very common that after you get over it, you could have a lingering cough for 2 to 3 weeks afterwards and stuff. So just do your usual. Sanitize your hands, wash them, do that fun stuff. But the vitamins matter. Matter. I
take my vitamins. I miss a day here and there, but for the most part, I take my vitamins every day and have for 30 years almost. And but it's just one of those things that when you're around public enough, you know, it's you might catch them no matter how many times you wash your hands. So it just happens.
But one thing too,
it doesn't matter if you wear a mask or not, because if it's going to get you, it's going to get you.
Yeah. With the vitamins too, though, a lot of people don't understand is, especially if you're a Michigander like us, is we are indoors throughout the winter. And when it comes to vitamin D levels in Michiganders, we are actually at third world country levels for nutrition wise for our vitamin D levels.
Oh, that's why I take a vitamin D every day.
Yep. So especially in the winter, especially it's vital to take your vitamin D3s because vitamin D is so linked to your immune system. And I know for myself with my move recently, to help save money, I have a regular monthly shipment I do of vitamins that I do. In the last 3 months, I've been off of them because I've just, invested in the condo and renovating everything. So I'm like, I'll take a few months off, save a couple $100 there. But of course, soon I had ordered the vitamins last week, and it's like just as I order them, then I got sick. I'm like, I was too late.
Yeah,
but oh well.
That's
lovely.
Yeah, but nice thing is your immune system fight through it. You'll be fine, and go from there. So, but why don't you go ahead and knock out your read real quick, and then we'll go.
All right, I don't have anything to pop up there, but it's Team Titans of Real Estate. We are in our Super Bowl season here. Once Easter passes, we see phone calls increase, number of listings increase. So between now and June to July, that's the really hot spot there. So if you're thinking about making a move, if you're thinking, hey, I want to move in June, I don't have to call yet. No, you got to call now because it takes about 30 days to close alone. So if you started the process today and found something day one, right there, you're already in close to the end of May. And then if they need 30 days occupancy, you're at the end of June. So you got to start looking now to find that right house for you. So give us a call, 586-532-2144. That's our hotline. You'll either get Jill or myself, and we'll get you out there. So we'll do this last week alone just to show how busy it's gotten. We had 3 deals. We sold 2 houses and for some sellers of ours, 2 different sets of sellers. And then we helped the buyer find a house. Nice. So it's been very busy and moving quick. And the houses aren't lasting long. So whether you're working with us or any realtor, the number one thing you can do, get your pre-approval from a mortgage lender. If you don't know someone, either Jill and I can recommend someone, or if you're working with someone, I'm sure they have people they work with. But I will say this, so many people do this, and we're not allowed to openly talk bad about specific companies, so I'm not going to name names, but there are very popular companies that advertise super low rates all the time. They're everywhere. I'm telling you, there's a reason why the rate is so low. It's called closing costs. And when people get quotes from this company, that company does not give the full quote. They give certain items in their quoting so it looks like they're competitive with other mortgage lenders. And then we get to the closing table and our buyers are surprised and all these extra fees hit. You're paying for that lower rate. You're not getting it for free. So there's a reason why all realtors don't like this one company in particular. That's very popular. So, and it's not, we get nothing for who you use. Whoever you use, it doesn't affect us. But we do want you to have a great transaction and the best possible deal for you. So anyways, give us a call, 586-532-514, whatever my number is.
So it's probably like the rocket that went up with Amazon that really wasn't.
That could be it. That could be it. And
I can say what I want. I'm not a real estate.
Just like that rocket, where they're starting to own everything. Same, certain companies are trying to do everything now, where they have even title and loans and real estate all in one. And the problem with that is you start losing your ability to make decisions as the consumer. And so just do your research and go from there. All right.
Okay. Yeah. So that Amazon thing is funny how much it's blown up everywhere.
Well, did you see the door opened?
Well, and they've kind of explained that a little bit. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but the big problem with the whole thing is how much they claim. This is where I was infuriated when I first heard about it, before we even talked last week. Is they talk about this? Oh, it's just we're doing this thing for women and stuff like that. Going, no, you're acting like you're real astronauts, and there are women astronauts out there that are working hard through NASA, SpaceX, stuff like that, even in other countries, and they act like they did this great thing, like women aren't allowed to be astronauts, and now they are because they did this. So it's like they opened the door for everybody. It's like, no, what you did was you were a passenger in a slingshot type ride that just had a big booster, and it was nothing big deal. And to make them sound like they're this great thing takes away from all the real heroes that are astronauts, that work hard, that go to school, that have degrees, that spend years training.
Astronauts don't just take a ride to space and come back. They're actually doing experiments. There's a purpose for their mission. Like I heard one of them, Katy Perry, or one of them, like when they like, we completed our mission. Like, you didn't do anything. You rode. Yeah. You rode a ride, and when you got up there, you're like, ooh. That's not that's not what astronauts do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, it's the thing is, this is that if you go to NASA, and I'll put the link in here, but they have women at NASA, and this is where anybody that seriously wants to find real heroes working hard, real, if you working hard within the space agency, and not all of them are going to go to space. It's just like not all men go to space, but there's all kinds of different articles. Talks a lot of people that have done stuff. The one that just came home after being up there way longer than they should have.
That the media pretty much ignored.
Yeah, they like, oh, she's back. Okay, we're done with that now.
Yeah, and she was an actual astronaut.
Now these women that all paid like $20-something million each got to go up and play astronaut, and they really weren't astronaut here. So,
it's like the people who have given everything, some dying, to climb up Mount Everest. Mm-hmm. But then I took an airplane over Mount Everest and saying, oh, look, I reached the summit. It's like, well, okay, yeah, I did make it that high, but I didn't climb it.
Yeah, you didn't put the work in. So
I didn't do the work,
Yeah. So it's stuff like that. It's just, I see that stuff, and it, as much as people want to complain about different things in the world right now, that's something right there that should not be celebrated, because all they did was pay money to go up into on the end of a rocket that shot them up. And it was a rocket, I'll give them that, but it did nothing but barely pierce the just high enough just to say, oh, this is technically space, but they didn't orbit. It was a up and down in the same area. So,
and even if it orbited, they did nothing still. They
were
pilot it. They didn't.
They weren't real crew. They were just
right.
Ride.
Yeah, they didn't.
So
they didn't. I mean, if I get in the back seat of a taxi cab and I ride all over New York City, I can't claim I was a taxi cab driver because I was in a taxi all day.
Yeah,
driving around New York City.
No, and that's the whole thing. So that's my gripe about that, because it keeps popping up, and I'm just like, I'm so tired of it. And because not one of them is they made this thing through the greatest thing ever. I'm going, if anything, I think you almost could have pushed women back a step, by showing that, well, it doesn't matter, as long as you become famous and have money, you can do this, and instead of actually working hard to achieve the goal. So nope, not heroes in my book.
Then you just got the things that are contributing to the conspiracy theories is, they open the door from the inside, and then you see Bezos comes up with a special tool to unlock it because it's pressurized. So
I saw the extended video, and they can open it from the inside. There is a hatch inside there, because again, it's, even though it's pressurized, it's still a hatch they can open from the inside for emergencies. But they shouldn't have, because they said they told them to close it because they had to do this big thing, and they had to do editing and cutting, but it got out, so it's already live streaming.
Well, then the other thing is, I guess they live streamed it landing on the ground, but then I guess it was a cut for 10 minutes, and then the live stream turned back on. Well, somebody grabbed some still frames from the live stream before it blocked. And when you zoom in on what you can see inside the capsule, the hand, it looks like a mannequin hand.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
it doesn't look like a real human hand. So I was like, okay, what were they doing for the 10 minutes? so now you wonder, did they really go up at all, or?
Well, they were up somewhere because there is video of them up, and you can see the background. And I mean, you can fake some of that, but they were actually moving. But it's not. I think what it was is I was wondering if there was an extra space, and they had to put an extra a mannequin body in one just for because they ought to be secured in their seats just for weight purposes, so it was balanced.
Maybe.
So I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of things. It's just I look at regardless of if they went up or not. It's not that. It's nothing. Yeah. It's a ride that eventually everybody will do at Universal or Disney.
True.
So
yeah,
but what I am excited about is they dropped today the new trailer for Wednesday.
Oh, I have not seen this yet.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens.
Anything else on your person?
Brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
You care to explain this?
Sun cream, seriously?
This is the first time you've ever willingly returned to a school. How does it feel?
Like returning to the scene of the crime.
Howdy, Ruby.
I already know where the bodies are buried. Let's play dolls. I mean, it is a little creepy, but the curls are super soft. It's made from real human hair. Wherever there's murder and mayhem, you will always find an Adams.
Every family has dark secrets, Wednesday. And secrets can have deadly consequences.
You don't need to worry about me, Mother. I do my best work in the dark.
Yeah, they're dropping it in 2 parts.
You just rewatched it, didn't you?
Yes.
That werewolf kid, whatever it is, he died in season 1, didn't he? No,
I think so. I think that's a dream.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a dream sequence. There's gonna be things going on. And she'll probably have a dream sequence from the year before. Who knows? Maybe he does get to come back.
Yeah. That kid's that actor who plays that role. He is in everything now.
Mm-hmm.
He's in The Boys. He's in there's everything. He was in some. What was it? The Judge there. What was it with Walter White, Bryan Cranston? He was the son there. And,
okay.
Like he's in tons of things. That guy. I think he's the young guy right now.
Well, and that happens, and they end up having a good resurgence, and if they're smart, they keep building upon where they work, and then eventually they'll have a steady career. So
that might be why they brought him back. Like, oh, you know what? He's a little hot right now. We got to find a way to run him back in the script.
Well, at least brought the creature back. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we'll see on that. It'll be interesting on all this. I'm looking forward to it. It comes out in
when did I say August?
August and then September, so it's 2 parts.
Okay.
So they're splitting it up in half. Which I mean they've been kind of doing that on a fair amount of stuff just to drop a season and then have the last half whatever later on, so it doesn't. I think a lot of it too is they've scaled back on the number of productions that they do. Netflix has and you can see that when you go look for something to watch on Netflix, it's like, just a few new things here and there. They bring a lot of stuff from over other countries that they have to dub. I've seen a lot more of that. So, but I'm looking forward to that. It looks really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first season.
Yeah. So we had Star Wars Celebration Japan.
Yes. That so.
And they did announce the new Star Wars Celebration will be in 2027 in the first week of April, or first 3 days of April, in LA.
For 2027 or 2026?
2027.
So they're going to skip a year.
Yeah, they're going to do every 2 years. I think that's what they've done this last couple times is every 2 years. Yeah. So because they made some announcements this year, then stuff will come out next year, and then I think that's going to be the gear up for the big relaunch of everything Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, this year's they got a lot coming out here.
Yeah, they did some good announcements.
I think 2 years we'll see the big, like, here's where we go forward now. This is we have a new movie announcement, The Starfighters, which is supposed to take place after episode 9, starring Ryan Gosling, which I heard that and I was kind of like, okay, because the last couple of things I've seen him in, I didn't really care for. I mean, I haven't seen all of Barbie. I saw like 10 minutes of it. Tried to watch The Fall Guy, and that was just.
I feel like he's such a dry actor.
Yeah,
I don't mind him, but I don't feel like he's a leading role. I feel like he's a good wing person. You know, play the straight guy in a scene versus the comedic guy, But he has such this bland personality. But we'll see.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. See what happens. Wait till they actually film it and see a trailer and make a decision from there. I did like what you shared some footage, but it's gone now of Mandalorian Grogu.
Yeah, here I have this thing here. It won't be the video, but this has a list of the announcements from there. But yeah, so you got Mandalorian Grogu, May 22nd, 2026.
Yep.
That comes out. So I believe that's the
49th anniversary of Star Wars. Yep.
Yep. And some surprises that came out was Sigourney Weaver will be in there.
Yeah, I was excited about that.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
And she looks like she's a former pilot. They do show her in the Rebel pilot gear, or actually just at that point Republic pilot gear. So
yeah, and then we also saw Zeb in the trailer. We see snowtroopers, which we haven't seen them pop up in a while.
Yes, that was pretty cool. As far as Zeb, though, one of the announcements Filoni talked about is they're definitely going to see a lot more Zeb. He's going to be in the Ahsoka series as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to put the whole Rebels crew back together.
Yes, and that's because they're taking on Thrawn, and so he said a lot more Hera. I mean, this is where you can find the videos. So they've got the entire. They have online through Star Wars. You can see the entire videos they did. 8 hours or whatever. If you want to go through it all. But the clips I saw, he said, they're basically got a lot more Hera, a lot more space battles, action, fighting going on with the series.
And because of fan demand, he said a lot more Chopper, and that everyone went nuts. And I guess there's a scene they showed with Chopper with a giant machine gun attached to him, and his little arms firing this giant Gatling gun thing.
Chopper is the true embodiment of the Family Guy Star Wars, the Cleveland character. When he was R2-D2, he comes out the side of the Millennium Falcon with a handgun going, cut.
Yep. And everyone went nuts in the crowd when he said that. So
yeah, so it's exciting. The Star Wars first, the Grogu movie next year. After we do Andor, which just started last night. And then we get the Grogu Mandalorian Grogu movie next year.
Yep.
And the plot that they said is going to be, it sounds like they are either searching for or helping out. It's the same. It's the son of Jabba, the one that was rescued in the beginning of the Clone Wars, the original Clone Wars movie that was released. So now he's grown up and he's a gladiator. And the one picture I saw, he's like completely just ripped.
A buff version of a hut.
Yeah, he's not a fat slob. He's a fit slug.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, this sounds kind of interesting, and they're bringing back pretty much everybody. I think that I think it's cool. They're going to see a lot of cameos, but what's his name that played had Boba Fett's armor at first? I believe he's supposed to be back.
Yeah. Tim Oliphant.
Tim Oliphant. Yeah. Don't know how big a role, but he's definitely gonna be back. And I think part of that too is with the passing of Carl Weathers. they couldn't use his character again, of course. So so that switches up who they're using. Probably in the same type of similar role, but they will easily change out the characters and that.
I suspect they'll acknowledge the character's passing somehow, to honor Carl Weathers.
Yeah, I hope so. Because he was a big part of that. And interviews with him, he talked about how much he loved doing them, and it was the most fun he ever had as acting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
And so that's May of 2026. Then 2027 is Starfighter, as you said. So this is the rumored movie by Sean Levy.
Mm-hmm.
He's manning this. So this will be
it's announced. It's a legitimate announcement. So it's on
and they're in pre-production now, he said, and they are starting filming. I forget what day, but like this summer or early fall. I forget what he said. Yeah. But they're in pre-production now, so they're out of development.
Which means they have a script.
Yeah. Now I wonder, did they take the Rogue One script or the Rogue Squadron script and modify it to fit the new timeline, or because this seems to replace the Rogue Squadron movie.
Yeah, I think it did, but I think it's probably a whole new story. They've not said either way, but I would assume it's going to be a whole new story, mainly because Patty Jenkins was going to write the other one, and it was definitely going to deal with Rogue Squadron during. I think it was prior to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Where this one is supposed to be post sequel trilogy, so it's 5 years after the Skywalker Episode 9.
Right.
And so I think, and part of the reason I think they announced the date and everything else, this is their new starting point. So I think that's also, if you look at the date, it is just almost 2 months prior when they will have Celebration. So with Celebration coming out in April of 2027,
right,
it'll announce everything going forward that they're going to be working on probably over the next few years, and set up the future trilogy, because they're still talking of doing a trilogy, but it's still not Rian Johnson, no matter what they say. But
and it'll be,
and I think Taika Waititi is pushed aside as well.
I think so. Well, the truth will come out after August. I think August is when Kennedy finally. I think Kennedy is Palpatine, though. I think somehow she will return. I don't know. Until she's gone, I'm not counting her gone. But
the only hope I have is Filoni being the chief creative officer, which would be, basically he's the one that, and then she's supposed to be financial, and that's how, when they set them up like that, they said so money has to flow through her. But it sounds like if he doesn't approve a story, it don't matter what she's going to approve money wise.
Right. Now, August, though, after that, will she be gone fully or just in the capacity you're saying?
That's what, well, she was announced as that to get through to the end of her tenure, which is supposed to be August. But again, she was supposed to be gone 4 years ago.
Right.
So we'll see.
My hope is after August, I think we'll start seeing if she truly is stepping down.
Mm-hmm. It's time for her to retire, because the stuff she brought in, the High Republic, they announced at Celebration that it's coming into the last phase of that, which it's stuff that was already in the works. They're basically ending it because really nobody talks about it. And it's not us old Star Wars fans. I don't hear none of the younger Star Wars fans either.
No, even now, like when I went to Meijer the other day, all the stuff on the shelves are the Acolyte characters. Anything Kathleen Kennedy touches, nobody wants.
Yeah.
And so even if they do go forward with a Rey movie, I'll be fine with it if they do the script and the choices for who's going to direct and everything after Kennedy's gone. Yeah. Because I trust Filoni to do it right. I love the character Rey. I would love to see a trilogy focused on her moving forward. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I just don't want Kennedy's fingers in it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what we see, like the Mandalorian Grogu movie, is going to wrap up that entire set there.
Yep.
I really feel like, because Filoni helped talk about the Starfighter, and with the this is going to be the launch of the ability to basically say, okay, here's a story set 5 years post, and they'll be able to introduce certain things that they can go forward with. And it does sound like some things I read over the weekend that they're not going to be doing any more episode movies at all. They're not dealing with just Skywalker, so it's not gonna be that. And even with Rey coming in, they're not going to continue that as a Skywalker trilogy or anything like that. So everything's going to be its own thing, even when they do multiple movies, because they're getting away from the episode title thing. I think part of it is they just don't want to get caught up in constantly being episodes.
See, my theory is I think Filoni will want to keep that.
I don't know.
Hardcore
I think
fan.
I could see that as a hardcore fan, but at the same time, I could see that as a way of them saying, "Look, that's done. Let's honor George, even though the last three didn't really honor George, by just leaving it as that. That was George's thing here. I'm going to go forward now, and you know, with the inspiration from George, now I've created a whole new, you know, going forward type thing."
Yep.
And and they've done that in the comics.
They
had that Star Wars Legends comic that was like 100 years after Jedi that brought back Sith and everything else. And really what people want to see is they want to see good space action. We want to, you know, you want a good story and definitely having starfighters, stuff like that. If they go into, I mean, using what was at the end of Rise of Skywalker with all these people that are force power, if she's actually been out there building up new Jedis and stuff like that, then they can kind of introduce that soft launch in Starfighter and then go from there.
Yeah. My theory regarding Starfighter is I think they're going to use this as a launching pad for a new TV series. And a series focused on the Starfighter side, you could really grow the foundation of that new frontier that we're going into, whatever direction these next movies are going. Because they're going in uncharted territory, you could really lay a foundation for, okay, here's what's happening in the universe.
Yeah.
And what new threat is rising up or whatever. And you see it from that level, but you don't have to get too deep, but you can kind of set the foundation so that when the movies start coming out, we're familiar with the world, you know? And so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Filoni, though, being a master of everything Star Wars, he's read everything. You know, of course, he's helped create a lot of it in the last 15 years. So, I think that we'll see that he's going to pull some stuff from the Legends series of stuff to be able to create. There's a lot of great villains within that, and even though they screwed up with the Mara Jade stuff, we could see something in that vein.
But you also have the whole Yazong Vong enemy threat that comes into the galaxy in the old books and stuff. Filoni, he is a hardcore fan. He knows how to balance what corporate wants, what Disney is saying we want from you, but also pulling in all the aspect that he knows all of us fans love and finding ways of weaving it in there.
See, he's smart enough to do the fan service that people seem to complain about.
I know,
but do it in a good story, and he does it in the way that, okay, this is what they want to see. I mean, this is an existing franchise. You don't want to go in and say, what is this? I feel like I'm watching like Space 1999 and it says Star Wars. You don't want that. That's where reason the Mandalorian worked with Favreau and Filoni is we're dealing with characters that were new, but they were reminiscent of what we had already known. People were like, oh, they didn't just jump into doing a Boba Fett series, which I think would have been abysmal at that point, because it needed to be, let's just set up the whole universe there. And they'd introduced so much of it through the animated stuff that they already had half the story there, because they were able to bring in like Bo-Katan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they built up this whole thing and built up the Mandalorian legacy, which hardcore fans have always known. I mean, heck, there's the Mandalorian fan group's been around for decades now.
Oh, yeah.
So stuff like that. But it's definitely, I think he's going to pull. And even though he's doing a big battle with basically the Rebel crew and Thrawn, and we'll see where Thrawn pulls his group. He had the early remnants of First Order / former Empire were still floating around at that point that Ahsoka season 2 is going to happen. But they still could do the stuff from those original 3 books that Timothy Zahn did to pull in that. It was just Thrawn, but it was also a whole fleet that was completely different. That was they could deal with. And then there's the whole Dark Empires type stuff and things like that that he could definitely pull from to create some more stories going forward. Because even with Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker, with First Order was still around, so the remnants of the Empire had to still be around more than just the First Order. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that he can definitely pull from there. So
here's one of the other announcements.
mm-hmm.
Maul, Shadow Lord.
Yeah, we get some more Darth Maul. Definitely
This will be
animated
series with Sam Witwer's voicing of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is going to cover the stuff that I feel was intended story-wise with Maul. How the Solo movie came out, introduced that Maul was still there.
Yeah.
And then originally they were talking about a Kenobi movie and a Boba Fett movie. I felt it was all going to be one large trilogy where Maul was at the center of it all. So it's his time running the underworld there. He was a Shadow Lord. And so we'll see what the time frame ends up being. But
yeah, I saw where Whitmer was talking about he's saying that there's like this whole era pre-Rebels that they'll be able to dive into of where we're Maul during all this time.
Yeah, so let's see. This says, oh, here we go. It's about the former Sith building his huge criminal empire. He gets a new apprentice while he slowly assembles what would later be known as Crimson Dawn. So it's the formation of Crimson Dawn and an apprentice that he takes on.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely on that.
Let's see.
But yeah, that'll be, I think that comes out next year, right?
Coming out in 2026.
Yeah. So,
it doesn't say a month, but
yeah, I figure that'll be probably somewhere middle of the year, I would think.
Let's see, Lucasfilm Animation, they're celebrating. Here we go. Season 2 of Ahsoka. And there's the reveal of Rory McCann as Baylan Skull.
Okay.
I saw some people releasing pictures yesterday. It was driving me nuts because it's like it was so obvious AI and looked nothing like Rory McCann. I'm like, and everyone's like taking it as fact. I'm like, they showed the picture. What are you guys doing? But anyways, there's the official release of what Rory looks like. You might know Rory as the Hound from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see how they continue with him on there. I think he'll do a great job. I liked him as the Hound, and I think he's
got that presence, that gravitas, that size that Ray brought to the part. So I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah, so that'd be excellent. They also had so with that announcement, and that's supposed to be, I think, Ahsoka comes out after the movie, so it's gonna be like probably August, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think they give it.
It says production begins next week.
Yeah, so they, I think the plan is from a couple of things I saw. It wasn't definite, but like August of 26. It'll be coming out. I think is a plan on that. So we've got a ways to wait on that, but that's because they're just not starting production. But Filoni did say they put a lot of time and money into this thing, and so it's definitely going to have everything everybody wants, space battle wise, like I said, and more Chopper.
Yep. Some more Lego Star Wars stuff. That Ahsoka Lego Ahsoka looks a little freaky to me.
Oh, that's the Lego heads. Like they're giant brick heads, and I never cared for them myself. As actually toys, but I haven't watched that yet. They got that's like a second season of that's coming, and then they have the new Star Wars Visions, which is going to be the Underworld. So I think it's Visions. Is it Visions that they did that? They did the one with Ahsoka, and then
I'm going to grab a water really quick.
Yeah. So but yeah, they got the new one coming out for that, and then here we go. Yeah, the rebuild of the galaxy though. It's Brickheads, Ahsoka, and Jackson. So I I don't know. We'll see on that. That looks a little rough to watch in terms of just how everything is in that, but definitely coming out pretty soon. But I think it's the Visions are going to do the limited series based on Asajj Ventress as part of it. So we get more of her. She's definitely a fan favorite in terms of the the people like the dark side. I was talking about the new Visions. Oh, that's the one with Asajj Ventress they're doing, right?
Yes, that's following two different Asajj and somebody else.
Yeah, I forget who the
Was
other
it
bad guy.
Dooku? Was it young Dooku?
It's no, I think it's Underworld. It's all Underworld characters. So it's Asajj, and then let me see here if I get something on that. Trying to find that on that. I know Asajj has been very, very yeah, so it's 9 episodes. And Animated Thoughts responding new spin-off series titled The Ninth Jedi. Ronan and Kara come back. Yeah, I forget who the other one is. So that's what they've got of that.
Okay.
So it's like you see stuff and then it disappears.
Yeah. Yeah, the Visions is fun. They do a good job with these.
Yeah. So that'll be fun to watch that one. And then I don't know, maybe they're gonna launch something more with her because it's funny how much people don't really keep up with everything. So yeah. Oh, there's it goes. Tales. That's okay. The Visions is different than Tales. Okay, so
that's
Tales,
right. Visions is all short movies.
Yeah. So Tales of the Underworld is coming out, and that's the one where so that's where they got me confused on it. So it's got Asajj on that one and Cad Bane. That's what it was. Yeah. So you learn where Cad Bane came from and stuff like that. Where the Visions will be the shorter movies, but it is going to spin off a new series called The Ninth Jedi. So that's part of that. Okay. And it's supposed to continue the story of Kara's story from The Ninth Jedi and Child of Hope. So that's part of the Visions on that. So we'll see how that goes there. And then they announced a new game, Star Wars Zero Company. And it's a turn-based game. So basically you're
almost like a Dungeons and Dragons video game.
In some ways, yeah, but it's been done in other type things. But basically, you got your squads. It's a squad game, is what it is, and it's a strategy. I personally, I don't like playing those games myself because the way they do it, it's not truly full on turn based, and if it is, it slows it down, and I don't know. They need to go back and think about it because I mean, they're coming out with the revamped version of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
which they had some video of that on there too, and that looks really good.
Like I mentioned off screen to Brett, their video games are considered canon. So I'm wondering if this will now mean the Old Republic is now canon, or will this be grandfathered into Legends? That time frame they invented for the Old Republic games and the characters and the ships are they nailed it, and I really hope they stick to it.
Yeah, and that's what it kind of looks like. It's definitely gonna have a lot more gameplay. Well, I mean, of course, modern graphics, so the feel and look of it's gonna be completely different from what we used to, but it looks like it still follows the basic same story of the original Old Republic game. So
yeah.
Unlike that Outlaw, I've watched so much on the Outlaw, or looked at, and I was like, okay, I definitely don't care to play it because they said the gameplay's clunky, stuff like that. But they're coming out with an additional to it where they're tying in Hondo and a pirates type thing. So I'm like, is anybody really even playing anymore? I mean, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, I think they're trying to use Hondo to resurrect it. This had a really horrible launch. A lot of people didn't like it. They didn't like the character, the main character. There was a lot of negative feedback on that.
Yeah, I didn't it's anything good, and everybody said the gameplay is just horrible. The story is slow and crappy. And
now they switched. It's not the same company that usually do the games, right? They went to a different company.
Yeah, well, I thought it was their own in-house at one time, and then they closed all that down. So.
Yeah, and then I forget who's been running their games for a long time, and they've been doing a great job. And then that company lost the license or whatever, so then they went to this other company, which a lot of people, I guess, a lot of the negativity was the company itself. I guess they're known for having horrible launches.
Yeah, and it sounds like they rushed the launch on it. Yeah, for me for games, I can't jump into a brand new game when they first come out just because of time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to get. If I see a game looks fun, I'll wait a little while. Eventually, I'll pick it up. I have the Game Pass on my Xbox, so I get a lot of the games pop up for included, which I find that to be a cheaper way to go than just buying games all the time. Since considering I don't play a ton, and so I'll find something, download it, and play it, and when I have time, and just when I want a break from everything. So, but lately I've been buried in getting stuff done for the Comic-Con. So,
right. Yes, I think that's
about it for stuff.
news.
Yeah, I mean, I had a ton of panels over the weekend. You can watch them all online. They talked about a lot of other stuff, new toys like the K2SO Legos set there that I scroll by, new comics, some tied into the High Republic. That they're supposed to be wrapping that up, and there's the announcement for the LA one. Like I said, I think that's going to be the big reveal year for the future of Star Wars.
Yeah. And it's all stuff Kathleen Kennedy won't have her fingers on, so we can trust the release news.
I hope so. Because she pulled that stuff last year with at the Disney the D23. Then they were all like, "What are you talking about?" And they still nobody's seen the script, nobody's seen anything. And if it was really going to happen, this would have been the platform to say, "Here's this. We had the first script done," and they basically silenced her at this one too. So I think they basically got her in check now, so they can control what's going on story wise. So
yeah, because like the whole show they put on, where they even had Daisy Ridley show up and everything, and it's
she flew her in secretly too.
Yeah, but like to go to that extent on something that nothing is written. There's zero script, zero. I don't even think they have a synopsis written.
No, and the whole thing was it was Kathleen Kennedy trying to basically wedge her way in, and it was supposed to have been a kind of a thank you to her for all she's done over the last 35 years and with being with Lucasfilm, stuff like that. But yeah, she hijacked it, and unfortunately, Daisy Ridley, I think it shouldn't be blamed at all because she was just kind of brought in as like, this is what's happening. She's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that, and not realizing that it wasn't really there. So
yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So there was that.
There is the new. They dropped the second season of that. Kind of the ILM Discovery or Star Wars Discovery, and it's the 3 episodes, and all follows George Lucas as it goes digital with the prequels. Yep. I've watched the first 2, very good. I really liked them. They're really good documentaries, and it really shows what George was doing because they had a lot of film from back then, video in that, and kind of his take on why they went that way, and it really showcases what he did almost 30 years ago now. That changed how they make and do movies now.
Yeah, I think George Lucas is probably one of the most underappreciated people in Hollywood.
Yeah,
for what he contributed to films. Yes, he's known for Star Wars, but his visionary ways went way beyond just making a movie. It's how to make a movie.
Yeah,
he was the original mind behind Pixar. His original animation studio that he sold, and then it became Pixar. Surround sound. He was a big part of that.
THX sound. That was a big deal. Yeah.
That was him. Industrial Light and Magic, the way he completely reinvented how special effects were done.
Yeah, and this is and that's what the series is called, Light and Magic, and it's season 2, and it's directed by Joe Johnston. So
yeah, he was a big part in getting movies to update their projectors from film to digital. Lucas single-handedly has done so much in Hollywood that a lot of people don't realize.
Well, yeah, they talk about in the second episode about how the camera, Sony, they work with Sony to develop the cameras to be 24 frames per second because of filming, and a lot of it wasn't just because that's how they do everything is they film at 24 and then go from there. It was also so they could easily translate it right onto film stock for any actual projection. But George, of course, was like, well, we're shooting this digital. We need to work on getting this projecting digital, and that's where that all started with going to digital. And it hurt some smaller mom and pop drive-ins and movie theaters. But they did end up coming around, and a lot of the studios came through and said, "Hey, we're going to help you guys." And they basically helped get these $15,000 to $20,000 projectors in these small movie houses and drive-ins.
Well, if I remember right, I think it was when episode 1 came out, he only released it as a digital release.
No, it was a film one. It was actually episode 2 was when he
was it episode 2?
Yeah.
It's one of the ones. It was only digital. So it forced a lot of theaters to upgrade, but they knew it was going to be a big enough turnout that they could justify it.
Right. And that was what his big thing was, is they were shooting episode 2 is first when they shot fully digital. And they talked about that, and they got the cameras with Sony and stuff like that. And he was showing it off. They were like, "Hey," and invited anybody wanted to come. So you hear names like Robert Rodriguez, who immediately jumped out and was like, "Yes, I want to use digital. I know what I want to do." And he bit right into it. And he's one of the early adopters of it. And you see that in his Spy Kids movies, things like that. That's what he used to film and edit those. Yeah. And, it was, but he took that, and definitely that's what launched the going digital and everything. They still had, for episode 2, they could still get film prints. That's the whole point of still being 24p digitally, or 24 frames per second, so they could still do that, because they knew that they couldn't get everybody upgraded in time. But major movie theaters were definitely done that already. But then you had the IMAX release, so they took that and took the digital. They had to edit it down because of the size of the film. They had to take off like 20 minutes of film of the movie, which they took out most of the love story aspect, which made it actually a tighter movie.
Better, yeah.
And then they upgraded it digitally and then printed it onto IMAX film. Now they can do the IMAX digitally, so you don't have to do that, and they can do full length, 3-hour movies in IMAX. So
yeah.
So they actually use the IMAX cameras now, which give a wider view of what's going on. And a lot of that is you only see that in the action scenes more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the IMAX screens, you'll see it's like, okay, it's a bigger screen, and also get bigger for some of these scenes and then come back down.
Yeah.
So,
well, really quick before we end the show, we should probably talk a little bit, because we didn't cover it last week, is the finale of Daredevil.
Yeah. Wow. Definitely, they were planning for going to a second season, though. They didn't get renewed until this one dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first week numbers, they were like, "Yeah, you guys are ready." For the Comic-Cons that we do, like Scott and I'll be at Motor City Comic-Con. They've had to cancel, or Vincent D'Onofrio canceled, so did John Bernthal, because they're all filming right now for Daredevil season 2 for a February release. So he said it's going to come out in February again.
Yep.
And so they definitely, what'd you say last night? It's like, they say, this ain't your little brother's Disney.
Oh God. Yeah. This is on Disney Plus. You see Kingpin grab a guy's head and just crush it fully. Like, whoa.
A lot of blood. I mean, the thing
and then you got the Punisher, who he was outright murdering people. He wasn't even.
Yeah.
The guy's he's putting final shots into people who are laying on the ground, and Punisher was not holding back at all.
No, and Bernthal definitely he loves that role. He's like, this is what Shane would have been if he had lived in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. Shane, or the role he's playing in The Accountant too.
Yeah.
There seems to be a theme with John Bernthal.
Yeah. He's one of those actors that he embraces what that is, knowing that, okay, hey, I get to work. And he's doing good stuff. I mean, the Punisher series he did was good. With Netflix, I think if they give him one on Disney, because there's been talks of it, then I think it'll be good. Definitely him popping in Daredevil. He was barely in it this year. I mean, he's early on and then the last episode there. But definitely The Accountant is good. I rewatched the first Accountant movie the other week, and so because I want to go see the second one if I get a chance to in the theater, because it looks really good.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah. So I enjoyed Daredevil. I'll definitely watch season 2 of that.
Yep. And we've gone from this Kingpin, say, I just want to save the city, to, yeah, I'm the Kingpin, screw him.
Yeah, the best way to put it. I tried.
This is the way I could save the city. I have to just own it. It's I am the Kingpin. You all listen to me. Bow down.
Yep.
So, and you get blood all over the white suit.
Yep.
So it'll be cool. I'm looking forward to a new season of that and see what they go forward with that. No Jessica Jones. They kept hinting like she was in this season, but I didn't see that.
Yeah, I don't know if she got cut out or it was just
think-
misdirection or what.
I don't even know if it was actually official statements. I think it was just other people posting they were hoping, and it's fine. They really don't need to bring her in. She was just kind of a block character anyway. So
Yeah.
I know that the guy that played Iron Fist had said, "I'm ready. I could come back."
Yeah, he's like, I just need a chance. It's like I feel like you had a chance. To be fair to him, the problem was Netflix.
Oh no, yeah, he didn't get a chance. He said, "Hey, you get the role. When do we start? 3 weeks."
Yeah, it's like Netflix. They screwed him on that. If you're gonna start shooting in 3 weeks for a martial arts character, hire an actor who knows martial arts.
Yeah.
Don't get a guy who doesn't know it at all. And it's like, okay, you get a couple classes, then you have to look like a master. I mean, that's not fair for anybody. Nobody's going to pull that off.
No, I don't blame him on that. That was fully a production issue, and they screwed him on that. And they also rushed the story just because they wanted it out there.
Right.
And it should have been. Again, that's where if you don't really build up these characters that people don't know the proper way, you get crap like that. So.
Right.
So. But yeah, and then they've been showing more of the Fantastic Four stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Really hoping they don't screw that up. And then the new Superman. I swear, as soon as they got more announcements come up, hey, look who's in the Superman this time. I'm like, okay, fine. You're just gonna try to throw every character you can think of in there. They got Hawk Girl coming in next, so
yeah, I feel like they're doing too much of that, but. Then Thunderbolts is next week.
Yeah, that comes out is it next week or 2 weeks? So
I thought it was May 2nd. I thought.
Let's see here. Yeah, May 2nd. So yeah, week from Friday, Thursday night will be the preview nights next week.
Yeah, so that's good.
And PG-13 rating.
Okay.
So.
Man, we got Andor that just started. I got those first 3 episodes in.
Yeah, so
off to a good start.
Yeah, we can cover that next week. I don't want to cover that now since it just dropped late last night.
Yep.
They were like, "Oh, it's coming on the 22nd." Well, you guys are gonna do it at 9:00, aren't you? Yep, 3 episodes at 9:00. You guys suck.
Yeah, I watched 1 episode last night and then 2 this morning. It was good. I'm happy with how it started.
It's a lot of story in those first 3 episodes, and the only spoiler I give is and they say it right at the beginning, is it takes place 4 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yes.
So it gives you a time frame where they're starting from as they're going forward. So
yep.
So we'll see. It should be good.
Yeah.
But other than that, hey,
that's it.
I told you it's gonna be mostly Star Wars. So all right, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.